Hi, Brenda. Good morning.
Hi, Nikita. Morning. Hi, Maya ma'am. How are you?
Good morning. Hi, Brinda.
Hi. So good to see you, and thank you really for accepting to address us.
No, no, not at all.
Hi, Gopal. Morning. Hi, Anjali.
Hi,
Morning.
good morning, Brinda.
Morning.
So, Brinda, we shall start.
Yes, of course, please.
Thank you. Uh, Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to e-vidyaloka's International Volunteer Day Celebration 2025. I'm Anjali and George from the Volunteering Relations Management team at e-vidyaloka, and it is my honor to host the International Volunteer Day Celebration 2025. Today, we gather to honor the extraordinary spirit of volunteerism embodied by each one of you who have chosen to light up young minds one classroom at a time. At eVidyaloka, we believe that when knowledge travels across screens, languages, and geographies, it truly transforms lives. And this transformation is possible only because of your dedication, your time, and your unwavering commitment to the children of rural India. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for the difference you make every single day. Let's begin the celebration. It's now my pleasure to invite someone whose vision and leadership continually inspire eVidyaloka family, Gopal Balasubramanian. He is the president of DPG DPI Solutions at eVidyaloka, a visionary leader dedicated to leveraging technology for transformative social impact. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Gopal to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Anjali. And it's such a pleasure to be part of this event and welcome you all. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're
A
on.
welcome to all of you for the International Volunteers Day. So it's a very proud moment. I myself being a volunteer, there is such a day to recognize, the efforts towards this civic contribution. And I think it's such a noble cause. Many people don't realize the volunteers actually get a lot more than what we give actually. We of course enable the students, but personally I've noticed that we derive that satisfaction and fulfillment in life. It's unparalleled actually. So I think take a bow. I think I truly salute to all of you who are part of this special event and who continue to make an impact in children's life and educating across India. And I know volunteers from across the world actually, truly international at eVidyaloka. We have more international volunteers truly outside the Bharat land as well as in India. So to the spirit of volunteering. Um, I want to leave one anecdote. So I think that sums up the spirit of volunteering. And I've been volunteering with eVidyaloka for 5 years now. And while I do a formal role part of the organization as well, the volunteering has been quite a good journey actually. I personally have evolved. I can see the very first class I teach 8th standard mathematics in Tamil language. The way I interact with the students, I connected. It's been an evolution. If I look back, I've become a more rounded and more grounded person than what I was when I started this, right? And there are many moments which kind of brings you that joy, right? One such was I was trying to explain some concept in mathematics in Tamil, and I tried my hard. I actually work, prepare, and come to the class, and the students were learning. And there was 45 minutes class, and there was almost 30, 50 minutes, and some concept I couldn't get through the students. I was struggling. I literally I was, not sweating, but struggling. That I've done uh, many corporate bit, but this is a different challenge. Now, there stood up one student, Madhi Jeevitha. It's my favorite story I tell all the time, right? She's 10th standard now. She was 8th a couple of years back. She is an IAS aspirant. Her father is a tea stall vendor in the village. And I visit the school every time, and she made sure that she brought him to meet me. He had eyes in his, water in his eyes well. And so he said, such a proud moment to see you, sir, that my she put up the hand saying, you want me to try? He said, what do you want to try? No, no, let me try explaining to the students what you've been trying for the last 35 minutes. I was like, pin drop silent, right? Um, the penny dropped. And actually, the classroom switched actually. The teacher became the student and the student became the teacher. I will never forget the moment. She turned around, took the chalk, explained to the kids. They're all gathering around, and she got through. And then I realized, wow, what a moment. She said, "You only taught, sir. I understood. I was just explaining to these kids better." Um, there's no, you know, there's no words that can explain that feeling, right? The satisfaction of getting through a student, and she was so proud that she was able to pass this knowledge. And from that class on, I make it a moment that ask students, "Hey, is anybody wanting to put up their hands and explain?" And it's become a common habit now. So there's a lot of hands go up and saying, "I want to do this, I want to do this," the workshops and things, right? So this is a big learning. You don't know what impact you're creating actually, right? Please take a moment, cherish your impact you're making, and talk to the students. I'm sure you'll hear the stories, right? You touch very, very deep in their hearts, and I think you make significant impact. Every volunteer has a story, and I'm pretty sure the kids will grow to become great citizens, and create such an impact for the country actually. So I am very proud and happy I got this opportunity in e-vidyaloka. Continue to do my bit, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for everybody who's continuing to volunteer with e-vidyaloka. I know each one of you have a choice to do even volunteering many things, but you chose to teach. You chose to light up a lamp, and I think that speaks volume. Thank you so much for all of you for volunteering and being with e-vidyaloka and joining the special occasion. We have some special lineup signed up, and Ma'am Maya Menon is distinguished. She's been enabling teaching and pedagogy for 3 decades, so she has a rich wealth of experience she wants to share, and I think we all will benefit from that. And thank you again for the opportunity, and welcome you all to this event. Let's celebrate our own community. I think it's very important that we feel good and we take the impact we are making, right? I think the kids show the mirror. They are the mirror actually. Every day you need to see, reflect, and see how much more can you do. So thanks again for the opportunity. Give it back to you, Anjali. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you so much, Gopal sir, for those warm and motivating words and a very cherishing memory. Thank you so much for that. The heart of e-vidyaloka beats strongest through the voices of our children. Today, they want to express their gratitude to each one of you in their own special way. Our students, who are at the core of everything we do, have put together a special message for all our volunteers. Please sit back and enjoy this heartfelt video message from our students across India, celebrating you, their volunteers. Request Nikita to kindly play the video.
सम्माननीय समस्त भल्युंटर शिक्षक मानू शुभदिन शुभेच्छा। आज अंतर्जातीय भल्युंटर दिवस अवसर में आम e-vidyaloka समस्त भल्युंटर शिक्षक मानू हृदयपूर्ण धन्यवाद जनाऊँ। ఈ రోజు అంతర్జాతీయ స్వచ్ఛంద సేవా దినోత్సవం సందర్భంగా e-vidyaloka అన్ని వాలంటీర్స్ మా హృదయపూర్వక కృతజ్ఞతలు తెలియజేస్తున్నాను।
नमस्कार, আমার নাম সমর্পিতা মাহাতো। আমি পুদলাড়া হাই স্কুলের একজন ছাত্রী। আজ আন্তর্জাতিক স্বেচ্ছাসেবক দিবসে আমরা e-vidyalokaর সকল স্বেচ্ছাসেবক শিক্ষকদের প্রতি আমাদের আন্তরিক কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাতে চাই।
சர்வதேச தன்னார்வலர் தின ஆசிரியர் நல்வாழ்த்துக்கள்। எங்களுக்கு இங்கிலீஷ் கிளாஸ் எடுக்கிறாங்க। இங்கிலீஷ் கிளாஸ் மேம் பேர் வந்து சாராயு மேம்। அவங்க வீடியோஸ், வார்த்தைகள், சென்டென்ஸ்லாம் சொல்லி தராங்க।
प्रोजेक्ट सेट के अंतर्गत हमारे वॉलंटियर टीचर हमें फाउंडेशन इंग्लिश सिखाते हैं।
ಮೈಲಿಗಳಷ್ಟು ದೂರದಿಂದಲೂ ಸಹ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ರತಿದಿನ ಹೊಸ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ಕಲಿಯುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇವೆ।
स्वयंसेवक शिक्षक मात्र पाठ शिकवता નથી પણ વિદ્યાર્થીઓના મનમાં આત્મવિશ્વાસ, પ્રેરણા અને સંસ્કાર પણ જગાવે છે।
আমাৰ সন্মানীয় ভলণ্টিয়াৰ শিক্ষকসকলক ধন্যবাদ। আপোনালোক আমাৰ হিৰো। সকলো ভলণ্টিয়াৰ শিক্ষকলৈ ইণ্টাৰনেশ্যনেল ভলণ্টিয়াৰ দিৱসৰ শুভেচ্ছা জনালোঁ।
सारा भारत और विश्वर भिन्न भिन्न स्थान में शिक्षा देउथिबा शिक्षक मानक सह संजोग रहिबारे आमे अत्यंत गर्वित और प्रेरित अनुभव करूछु।
आपकी वजह से ही हम हर दिन नई चीजें सीख पा रहे हैं, अपनी स्किल को बेहतर कर पा रहे हैं। हमारे हमारे सपने को सच करने के लिए आपका समय और आपका ज्ञान देने के लिए धन्यवाद।
We are happy to learn from teachers from different parts of India and the world. You show us that education can reach every child. Thank you, dear volunteer teachers. You are our heroes. Happy International Volunteer Day.
మీరు మాకు బోధించడం, మార్గనిర్దేశం చేయడం, మాపై నమ్మకం ఉంచడం ద్వారా దూరంగా ఉన్నా కూడా మా జీవితాలను మార్చారు. మీ వల్ల మేము ప్రతిరోజు కొత్త विषयाలను నేర్చుకుంటాం.
प्रिय स्वयं शिक्षकांनो, तुम्ही आमचे खरंच नायक आहात. आंतरराष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक दिनानिमित्त सर्वांना हार्दिक शुभेच्छा.
Thank you, dear volunteer teachers. You are our heroes. Happy International Volunteer Day.
சென்னையில் மட்டும் இல்லாமல் வெளிநாட்டில் இருந்தும் அவங்க எடுக்கிறாங்க. அவங்க காலத்தையும் நேரத்தையும் ஒதுக்கிட்டு எங்களுக்காக பாடம் நடத்துகிறாங்க. அதனால் அனைத்து மாணவர்கள் சார்பாக வாழ்த்துகிறேன்.
आपणमध्ये आमचे आभार हिरो आंतरजातीय व्हॉल्युंटियर दिवसाला अनेक अनेक शुभेच्छा.
प्यारे वॉलंटियर टीचर, आप हमारे हीरो हैं. हैप्पी इंटरनेशनल वॉलंटियर डे. समय देने के लिए आपका धन्यवाद. आप हमारे हीरो हैं. हैप्पी इंटरनेशनल वॉलंटियर डे.
Thank you so much, Nikita. These children come from different corners of the country, speak different languages, and attended different schools, but they all share one thing in common: their gratitude for your presence in their lives. Thank you so much, our volunteers. I'm sure those smiles and voices touched all our hearts. And now it is my honor to invite our guest speaker for this joyous occasion, Ms. Maya Menon. Ms. Maya Menon has begun her career in education as a school teacher for over 8 years and has over 4 decades of experience in the field. She has led major school and teacher development initiatives, including the Wipro Applying Thought in Schools project, Safe and Sensitive Schools, and the Indian Social and Emotional Learning Framework, India's only researched and contextualized SEL framework. Since 2021, she has guided the Teacher Foundation as a glossary anchoring partner for the Life Skills Collaborative, a full-time teacher trainer since 1996. She has trained thousands of educators across India, and has also presented at various national and international conferences. I welcome you, ma'am, to address our volunteers, and also request Nikita Madan to moderate this session.
Thank you, Anjali. Good morning, everyone. It is really a pleasure to have you here and address our volunteers. So we have a couple of questions where the volunteers, you can share your inspirational motivation journey and inspire many more volunteers, teachers in our eVidyaloka. So how can volunteers without a formal teaching background still create meaningful learning experience for the students, ma'am?
So thank you, e-vidyaloka, for inviting me to this important day for all of you, International Volunteers Day. Nikita, to answer your question, how can volunteers without a teaching qualification or degree help in teaching? I think everybody can help in teaching, whether it's a parent, whether it is a responsible adult, responsible volunteers, everybody can help in teaching. Having said that, I wouldn't in any way diminish the importance of training and some kind of facilitation skills, etc., because everybody who's getting into working with children should have some understanding of how children learn, how children make sense of the world, and also in terms of how do you manage a classroom, how do you manage children's learning, because a person who's functioning as a teacher, volunteer or a regular teacher, they are actually managing multiple things. You're managing learning, you're managing the children in terms of you're managing time, you're managing resources. It's a huge management exercise, actually. And a lot of times, including regular teachers, don't give credence to the importance of and the complexity of the teaching profession. I've been in this profession for 40 plus years, and now I know how complex and how difficult the job is. When I started my career as a 20-year-old many years ago, I thought I've got my PEd, I've got my graduation, I've got my BEd, I know my subject, and I can teach. But that's not the case. But having said that, volunteers, what they don't have is a teaching degree, but what they have is huge passion and commitment. So that is a huge plus point for volunteers. They're not just sort of, taking it as just a job to do. Not that I'm saying teachers do that, but so what volunteers have to recognize is that to learn from other volunteers who've been doing the volunteering for a much longer time, get some training. I think, I mean, you wouldn't expect somebody to help, say, as an assistant or an intern in a hospital, to not have any understanding of some medical protocol, etc. In the same way, I think all volunteers have to have some understanding of teaching protocols, pedagogic protocols, etc. Because otherwise we end up resorting to teaching the way we were taught. And a lot of times, all of us have gone through school education, which has not been optimal. We've all had experiences with not necessarily great teachers and great teaching. Yes, and we've also had, wonderful experiences with one or two, at least, wonderful teachers. So there is a lot of research in the world, internationally as well as nationally, that says that teachers teach the way they've been taught. And so volunteers will also teach the way they've been taught, unless you pause, think, reassess how you want to engage with young people, especially young people in a very different world from the world that we grew up in. Definitely, I grew up in decades ago. Many of your volunteers are much younger. So, but even then, the world has changed so much in just the last 5 years, post-pandemic. So we need to take cognizance of that teaching is not a standstill profession, as is the case with any other profession. And we need teaching is complex. Teaching is an amalgamation of subject knowledge, understanding of child psychology, understanding of, as I said, organization, managing, because you have organizing resources, managing time, managing the learning, and of course, there is a certain sense of artistry of teaching, that you have to bring in a certain fun element, joy element, etc., which does come. Sometimes it comes naturally to some volunteers, but it also is something that you have to observe and learn. Everybody can be a good teacher. Everybody can aspire to be a great teacher. And I think volunteers have to operate from that, mantra that I can be a great teacher. But I have a lot of skills to learn also. I may be great in my subject knowledge, but I have a lot of other peripheral and accompanying skills that have to be learned. It's a long answer to a question.
No, that's really, I can relate with my volunteer journey that you have told also. That's really nice. So in what ways does the teacher's encouragement and consistency influence child's academic and personal growth, ma'am?
So I mean, while there's been again a lot of research where they've tried to track what is it that enables children's learning. Is it the curriculum? Is it the classroom? Is it the class size? Fewer children in the class, rather than many of our schools in India have 40, 45, 50 children in the class. Is it technology? And repeatedly, what has been found out is that the teacher assigned to the child is the single most important factor that enables and has a positive impact on student learning. It's not technology. It is not classroom infrastructure. It is not even the curriculum, because a great curriculum in the hands of a mediocre teacher will be mediocre. Whereas a mediocre curriculum in the hands of a good, thoughtful, committed teacher can be completely transformed. So the teacher has a huge impact on children's learning, especially today when the technology is sort of, and I know you use a lot of technology. Technology is so ubiquitous in our country, in the world, and of course now with AI also. We need to recognize that the human interface and the human connection between the child and the teacher, the students and the teacher is critical. I often tell my teachers that we work with and train that we need to remember as teachers that we are not teachers of textbooks. We are not teachers of syllabus. We are teachers of children. We are teachers of students. So the student is the important factor. Curriculum is the medium through which you're enabling children to learn. So a lot of times we tend to say, we need to finish portions, we need to finish syllabus and so on. But the syllabus is not the problem, is not the issue. It is how do you engage with your children? So student engagement, which can be only influenced and catalyzed by the teacher, in this case, the volunteers, is really critical.
That's true, actually. But now I think with this curriculum, what you said right now, curriculum is not important. I mean, we have to
I didn't say
focus.
it's not important. It is. It
is
doesn't have such an influencing
as in
factor as the
true.
teacher, delivering the curriculum.
Correct. Now with this SEL, which is coming more, so why is social learning, emotional learning is important for today's learners, especially for those students in the rural communities? Yeah, ma'am.
So social emotional learning, I mean, when we talk about learning, it's not, social emotional learning is not a new thing. We've always talked about three facets of learning. There is the cognitive facet, there is the psychomotor facet, and then there is the affective facet. Affective facet is the social emotional learning. Cognitive facet is typically what the regular academic curriculum. The psychomotor is the fact that you need to have children who are well physically, and they feel whole, they're healthy physically, etc. So the psychomotor aspect is also important. Psychomotor aspect anyway is important even with very young learners when they have to learn to write and so on. That's a psychomotor function, but also in fact the whole body. So affective learning and affective domain of learning is not a new thing. It's been there for many maybe at least a century. But what has happened is that over the years, definitely in our country, but it also is a problem in other countries, the focus of education has been so, narrowly focused on the curriculum and on an academic curriculum that has sort of always superseded and trumped everything else. And now, and the fallout of that has been noticed, but I think it's been noticed a lot more during the pandemic and post-pandemic. In fact, a lot of teachers in all our schools have said how much the children changed. We don't realize it because we were already adults. Our brains were fully formed. We already had worked for many years. So we don't realize the effect and the fallout of the pandemic in the way actually the children have had to suffer. The fact that they were cooped up, the fact that they couldn't interact, the fact that they couldn't play outside, the fact that they couldn't socialize with teachers, with other adults apart from their parents, and with peers. All that has had a very significant impact on their overall growth and development. And therefore, people have now realized that mental health and well-being of children, the social emotional dimension of learning is important. In fact, it's come to the surface, thankfully, because actually at the Teacher Foundation, we've been talking about social emotional learning for the last 23 years, ever since we've started, because we've always realized that the human connection that the teacher and the student engages in, that is what fosters social emotional learning. Of course, what happens in the home also matters a lot, but a lot of the children, what happens in the home, we don't have control over because it happens in the privacy of the home. And a lot of children go through very negative influences in their homes, particularly children coming from marginalized and socially underprivileged backgrounds. That is why the school plays a far more important role in fostering the social emotional dimension. Otherwise, in middle class and upper middle class homes and so on, the parents play an important role in nurturing and encouraging children's confidence levels, self-awareness levels, capacity to communicate, all of that. But in underprivileged children coming from lower socioeconomic strata, it is the school's responsibility, or volunteers and organizations like yours and ours, to actually focus on the social emotional dimension. And now with AI and increasing level of technology, I think we should not underestimate the importance of the human element of education and learning. Because what is learning all about? It's about building, it is about maximizing and realizing the full potential of a human being. And the human being is not just the head, it is the heart, it is the hand. So we have to look at fostering student well-being and social emotional learning.
That's really nice, ma'am. So now with this, like, how can volunteers bring empathy, emotional awareness, and human connection to virtual classroom setting of eVidyaloka that we have, ma'am?
Yeah, so your classrooms are all virtual, exactly.
Yes.
I think you can do a lot of things. In fact, we actually did quite a bit during the pandemic, helping teachers, maintain that connection. Maybe you can set aside one period a week to do not anything connected with the curriculum, not connected with math or science or English or any other subject that you teach, but to focus on getting to know the child. A lot of time, the curriculum in social emotional learning has to be, I want to understand the child. I want to understand what is it. When I say child, of course, it's in plural, the children. I want to understand what is it that they feel, what is it that they think about, what do they feel about themselves, what do they feel about other people, what do they feel about the world around them, what are the problems that they face, what are the how are they arriving at solutions, how can I help in helping them think through solutions. You can't solve every child's every problem, but what we can do is provide a forum. So having one period or once a week to do fun things, to get to know the children, get to know individual children as well as collectively your class. Those can make a significant sort of inroad into helping foster social emotional learning. And you can do a lot of fun things. You can do games, you can do activities, you can do talk sessions, conversations, and so on. But the curriculum is just, and when we talk about social emotional, the curriculum is just the students. When we talk about social emotional learning, the 5 competencies of social emotional learning is self-awareness, self-management, relationship management, social awareness, and decision-making. Now, these are skills that are necessary even if you want to learn well. When I'm saying learn an academic curriculum well, but if you focus only on the academic curriculum, you may not learn and acquire these skills. But if you focus on these skills, a child will take interest and take initiative to focus on the academic curriculum. And I think of all these 5 skills, we need to begin with self-awareness. A lot from our research from across India, which we did a 7-year research to actually develop this Indian social emotional learning framework, which is an age-banded framework. So I would really encourage e-vidyaloka volunteers to use it. It's a free-to-use downloadable resource from our website. And so if you're teaching, say, a grade 5 child or grade 5 class, then you would have to look at the age band of 9-10 years, because grade 5 falls into the 10 years. If you're teaching older children, say 9 standard kids or 10 standard kids, or 11th and 12th standard kids, you would look at the older age band, and you would look at what are the social emotional learning competencies that those children at that level should have. And then you can examine ways in which you can actually foster those capabilities. So So I would request volunteers to download the resource and use it. And if you need orientation to that, we're happy to do like an online orientation to the iSelf framework, because that's a good guide for teachers, volunteers to use to foster social emotional learning. So SEL is important. It's always been important. It's just that now people are recognizing it far more. Not when Teacher Foundation started our research on the Indian social emotional learning framework in 2012, so it was 13 years ago. Nobody in India was using the term social emotional learning, and the only country in Asia apart from us attempting was Singapore. But Singapore is a city country. It's not. It's a tiny country. The the countries that were looking at social emotional learning at that time were US, of course. They've been doing it for the last 35 years, and UK to a large extent, and maybe a few other European countries. But in Asia, only Singapore. But now pretty much when we finished development of iSelf, we found that everybody's talking about SEL, and everybody now recognizes the importance of SEL and also considers themselves experts in SEL. But everything has to be learned. One needs to recognize that each of these fields are complex fields. One has to read, one has to understand, one has to discuss with each other, share ideas, and therefore build up one's own comfort and authentic understanding of this field, social emotional learning.
That's really, it's a very nice information that you have shared with the volunteers. Right? So on this occasion, would you like to give some message to the volunteer teachers, ma'am?
What is the message? I mean, I think you have to just follow your passion. And I think the fact that volunteers are volunteering apart from their because obviously they're all doing other work, isn't it?
Yes.
It just shows that you're doing it out of love and I think that's the best way to do any work. If you love it, then you can't go wrong. You will constantly learn. You will constantly wonder, what can I do better? How can I? It's like what Gopal talked about, the fact that he was wondering how to teach a particular maths concept and how his student helped him helped show him how to make it, which tells you that if we observe, children are wonderful teachers themselves. And in fact, one of the pedagogic methods, strategies we definitely recommend to all teachers and I would recommend to volunteers is that focus on leveraging collaboration in the classroom. Children are wonderful teachers to each other, and because children teach each other all kinds of things, complicated rules of games. They can teach each other cricket, chess, video games, all kinds of stories and so on. We need to leverage that to teach academic curriculum also. So collaboration is a wonderful way. So focus on collaboration. And for that, you need to acquire some skills. Collaboration is not just saying, okay, get into groups and discuss. There are certain, clear steps and processes that have to be used. So I would say perhaps that's something every volunteer should equip themselves with. Long time ago, when I first, as a young 19-year-old, when I was doing my B.Ed, I did my B.Ed in Delhi at the Central Institute of Education, and at the orientation, one of the professors quoted Bernard Shaw. And he, in his typical, satirical fashion, he said, "Those who can do, those who can't teach." Now that was, and I was young, 19, and I said, "Why is she quoting this?" Because that's a real, putting off young graduates to become teachers. Because I feel I can do. But then years later, I met with another wonderful educator who started a school in Bangalore, very well known, and she had this wonderful mug. On that, there was a quote which said, "Those who can teach, those who can't do something less significant." And I think that's the message that I would give the volunteers, that you are doing something significant through teaching. It could be early in your career, it could be mid-career, it could be in the fag end of your career, but there's nothing more significant than teaching, honestly, because you're touching lives. Henry Adams, an American, a long time ago, maybe over a century ago, said, "A teacher affects eternity." And that's so true. You can never tell when the impact of that teacher, stops, because it carries on generation to generation.
Okay,
And
that's
therefore we need to be inspiring.
that's a powerful quote that you mentioned, ma'am. And actually, as you speak, there is a message from the volunteer, Miss Maya. Now too, you are young, so that's a message that I have given to you.
I wish I was, but yeah.
You are.
But the flame still burns bright.
So we have like two to three questions. Is it okay if we can take it up, ma'am?
Sure.
So it's like, how can volunteers help students learn to respect their peers? What activities or strategies should a volunteer include in the classroom?
Yeah. So I would say this is part of classroom management strategies. And these are all things that are learned. You don't just have it in your head. It's only once you're, thrown into the classroom, you realize there are certain things that don't work. Either the children are not listening to each other, children are not listening to me as the teacher, and so you need to have some clear strategy. I think one important thing is that I think walking into the sorry, you're not walking in, I forgot. You're in the online class. You're in the virtual classroom. So having clear protocols in terms of instructions. What are the things you do? Having signals. It could be a hand signal. It could be a bell that you ring to say, okay, I need everybody to pay attention. So giving instructions are very important, especially in a virtual classroom, but it is there in a physical classroom too. So having clear instructions, insisting on those norms being maintained, because a lot of times we give give the instructions, but then when children flout them, we get irritated sometimes with them, or we just sort of ignore them. It's not okay to ignore them. Ignore flouting of norms. If you repeat it constantly for the first couple of sessions, then you will find that, okay, they've got it. With this teacher, with this individual, I have to follow these norms and instructions. And you can say it in a very pleasant, humorous way, but you have to be firm. So firm does not mean you have to be scary or stern. Sternness is not firmness. Firmness is being pleasant, but saying that this needs to be done. Otherwise, we can't really engage with each other in a purposeful, meaningful way. Even if you're doing, I don't know, how, do you use Zoom for teaching?
Yeah, we use Google Meet.
Use Google Meet. Okay. So in Google Meet, I don't think you can do breakout rooms. Can you? Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I mean, now
it's
we
not the
have, but
same.
it is basically one volunteer teaching to a group of students, a bunch of students, like that.
So if you're doing that, then I think for another thing that maybe you already know various other digital tools that you can use, whether it's Padlet or Mentimeter and so on. Those are all important tools that you can use to engage, because since you are at a disadvantage that you can't really see the children. You're teaching to an entire group, so you have to have ways in which you're checking, are the children engaged? I think student engagement is important, and when I say student engagement, students will demonstrate engagement in the way they're following your instructions, in the way that they're completing their tasks, in the way they're asking questions, in the way they're responding to questions that you ask, in the way that they interact and engage with each other also. So those are all ways in which we can actually foster student engagement. So I think the tip would be for the volunteer is that explore ways in which you can ensure optimal student engagement in a virtual classroom. And a lot of the digital tools are good ways. And of course, occasionally having to have one-on-one chats with perhaps the so-called troublemakers. That would be also good to say that I want to understand really, because I think you're a bright child, you're a smart kid. What is issue? So after other students drop out, talk to the child one on one, or talk to those 2 or 3 students one on one. That would be a good strategy too.
That's nice. So with the time thing, I think we will. There one more question. I think we have parallelly answered the same. It would be the same thing. We will take it offline on it. Yeah, I think I hand over to Anjali on it.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Maya, for your powerful and insightful words. Your message truly resonates with the spirit of what our volunteers do every day. And thank you so much for your teaching mantras and tips. Now, to make the celebration more meaningful and engaging, we have a fun session, volunteer polling, to celebrate the spirit of volunteerism. I request all our volunteers who have joined today to actively participate and make the best. Please take a moment to respond. We would love to hear thoughts and experiences. And I request Kathy Srinivas to lead the session. Kathy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anjali. Taking tips from Maya ma'am and celebrating volunteering spirit, we thought of doing something fun. And with the constraint of time, it's not really possible to give everyone a chance to share and talk. That's why the Mentimeter, the one tool which Maya ma'am mentioned also. So you have the QR code on the screen, or you can go to menti.com and use the code 21271483 and get into the poll. We will wait for 1 minute for everyone to join in. And then we have some fun questions coming up regarding your classroom, about your teaching, and all about your students to celebrate the spirit of volunteering, as Anjali mentioned. So I request all of you to join in. I hope the screen is visible to everyone and everyone is able to. Yeah, Kathy, do you want to put the code in the chat window once? Yes, please. The link and the code would be great. Can you put? I mean, I'm sharing my screen. Sure, I will do that. I'll do that. We have started receiving the messages. Sure. That's nice. Yeah. So the first question is all about describing your feeling when you enter your virtual classroom. Happiness, anxious, gentle, excited, passion, enthusiastic, curious faces, connected, better communication, strength is good, bad, engaged and overwhelmed, fantastic. Please dropping in what comes to your mind first. We have 30 people join. I request everyone to join in and share their responses. We'll stay on the first question for a while till everyone joins us. You can give multiple responses for this one. So please pour in your responses. You can join through your phone or laptop. There is a link shared in the chat box. Okay, with the time constraint, let's move to the next question. on your screen, you will have a next question option, or when Nikita changes the screen, you will automatically see the second question. Nikita, may I request you to go to the next slide? So we know that we have many volunteers who are in the mission with us from long time. So let's just understand how many of you fall in which numerical category here, which is new 3 to 12 months, 1 to 3 year, 3 to 5 years, and above 5 years. This is just to understand the group's, years of experience together, nothing to do with your volunteering spirit, whether you are new or old, you share the same passion. We are very well aware of that, and we are very grateful as well. You can share your response. We have 23 people till now who have responded. I request others as well. Awesome. Let's move to the next question, please. So my go-to phrase when I go in the classroom, hello all, please listen here, because I am in a virtual setting. So what's your go-to phrase when you get into your classroom? Maybe you need a little 30 seconds to think about, but I'm sure you will have your own go-to phrase which you use when you start your class. Listen, yes. Hello children, namaste. Hello, yes. Yes. So this shows that whichever classroom we are, all as a volunteers, we all use the similar phrases when we go to classroom. And that shows that, it doesn't matter which geography or which class you are teaching to, you truly have that spirit of volunteering, and you do your best when you get into classroom. Very nice to see all the popping answers here. Did you all have lunch is standing out for me? I am assuming this is after lunch break class time. Somebody has asked to share the code and the link again. I am doing that. All right. Let's move to the next question, Nikita. So, what best describes your teaching style? Are you a storyteller? You are a motivator, the tech guru, or the silent ninja?
I think you
I
need
see
to be
many.
everything.
I see
Maybe
many
all
of
of the
us are
above.
motivator, motivator teaching style. Yes, you can be all of the above also. Unfortunately, we did not had that option because we wanted to know a specific teaching style so that our upcoming webinars and teacher training topics we can based out of it. So yeah. But most of you are motivator, yes, and I think Maya ma'am also mentioned while she was talking that it's not a teacher role, but it's all rounder role what a teacher plays in the classroom. So you have to be everything. You have to be a storyteller, motivator, tech guru, and also silent ninja sometimes to get your work done from students. Awesome. Can we have the next one, Nikita? What's the most
rewarding part of being a volunteer teacher according to you when you get into your classroom? Their smiles. I quickly want to share one incident. Yesterday, me and Nikita, we were trying this poll out, and their smiles was our answer too. I think all of us, it acts like a stress buster for all of us, meeting students virtually, and they will be waiting for us. And when we get in and seeing their smiles, truly, it's a kind of refreshing. Part of the day when we join our classes, and we discussed a lot about it when we were trying to see this. We have many responses, so Mentimeter is sorting it for us.
Sorting
Let's
it,
wait for
yeah.
a minute what it has to say. Yeah, yeah. So smiles, I think, is the popular choice answer. Personal satisfaction, yes. Student interaction and their responses. Nice. Can we move to the next question, Nikita? If you could add one superpower to make teaching easier, what would it be? I think this is very interesting question, and we asked this question to some people while we were creating this poll, and we got different answers. I will share one of the answer after you post your responses. Very nice. Knowing many languages, humors, games, notes, activities, multilingual communication, photographic memory, visiting the place once. Yes, I was talking about it, and somebody mentioned Doraemon's Anywhere door, so I can get into my classroom and I can see my students anytime. Able to talk to every kid, yes, I understand. It becomes little difficult in a virtual setting, but uh, as we understood from the interaction that maybe a group of students after every class we can have 5 minutes one-on-one, which will give you a chance to speak to every child in the classroom. Of course, it depends on the schedule and the other classes lined up, but definitely our CAs are there to help if you want to do that. Fun activities, create better lesson plan. Very nice. Can we move to the next question, Nikita? What's your secret power as a volunteer? Patience, creativity, humor, persistence, and all of them. I think technically all of them, because we have to get into different hats, but you can mention one specific one which you stress upon. Okay. Thank you everyone for your response. Nikita, can we have the next one? Which moment made you feel, yes, this is why I teach? Satisfaction. Yes, all of us agree with that. An autistic child writing. Okay. Self-satisfaction, bringing the change. Smiles on their face. Give back. Yes. Concept is really easy, interesting. Kids respond. Seeing the output of work. Yes. Very nice. Some of us might not have thought about it, but I'm sure after this question, you will think about it. What moment which made you feel, yes, this is why I teach? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Can we have the next question, Nikita? So, as a volunteer teacher, okay, I already have the responses before reading out the question. It has made me more grateful, more confident, more patient, more connected to the society and all of them. Yes. I think this is the true spirit of volunteering. That we get to learn so much while we are teaching, and when we learn, we obviously want to give more to our classroom when we get to. And all of you take out time from your busy schedule, prepare for your class. You try to understand what your students want, and you revise your methods of teaching, your methods of class delivery, and you get, I mean, you show up in the class. That's the true spirit of volunteering, which we are trying to celebrate here today. So, thank you, all of you, for this. Nikita, the next one. What motivates you to keep coming back every week? Yes. 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 My kids, students smiling, consistency to make a difference. Yes. So smiles, students and kids are repeated words here. And we all had the same responses when we are trying this. And I think it comes spontaneously. We go back every week just to meet our students, seeing their smiley faces, and get that happiness for ourselves as well. So when I start, I mean, I teach every week. I call it as my stress buster time. When I connect with my class, I'm just stress free. I forget everything. I forget about my work. I forget about all my personal problems, and I'm just smiling. That 45 minutes, I'm just smiling from ear to ear, entire 45 minutes. So yes, I do resonate with all the responses. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm liking the emojis here people are using. Thank you. With that, I think we have come to an end of this poll. Thank you everyone for participating. And this was just a reflection of what we do every day in our classroom, when we see our kids, when we prepare for our classrooms, and just understand what the peers think also, and get some of the practices borrowed from there and implement in our class. Thank you everyone. Over to you, Anjali.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I'm sure these questions have actually inspired our volunteers to think about their class and to cherish every moment and memory with their students. So, thank you to all the volunteers for your enthusiastic participation and for those amazing replies and response that you showed. To conclude this memorable celebration, I would now like to invite Ms. Nikita, Head of Volunteer Relations Management team at eVidyaloka, to deliver the vote of thanks.
A very warm and heartfelt thank you to everyone gathered here today to celebrate International Volunteers Day. A special note of thanks to our esteemed chief guest of gracing this occasion with inspiring words and valuable presence. On behalf of eVidyaloka, I extend our deepest gratitude to all the incredible volunteers who continue to give their time, passion, and expertise to transfer the lives of children across India. Your dedication in the heartbeat of our mission. And today, we honor your spirit of service and humanity. A special thanks to our partners, schools, teachers, and supporters for standing by us every step on the way. Together, we create hope and possibilities. Thank you once again for being the change, and I hope you continue to contribute and inspire your near and dear ones to be part of this journey. Wishing you all a wonderful ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nikita. And thank you everyone for being a part of this
Bye-bye.
wonderful celebration. To our volunteers, your kindness lights up classrooms, your presence change lives, and your impact travels far beyond what you can imagine. On this International Volunteer Day, we honor you, we celebrate you, and we are grateful for you. Wishing you all a wonderful day ahead. Signing off.